Hello and welcome to another Leica review. Today we are reviewing this APO TELYT 135mm at f3.4. It is one of the telephoto lenses that Leica offers. And this lens is a particular one because it's a very long lens and it protrudes quite a bit, and at times it may look ungainly on a M240, but you must remember that this is a lens that has a long history. It goes back to 1933, the Hector lens, or 135 Hector at 4.5. And that lens was produced up till 1960s, and then came other lenses like in 1963, 1965. We have these series of lenses at f4 that came in. And then something happened at around 1963. At that time, in 1963, and all the way up to 1988, we had this beautiful 2.8 lens produced. So it was at Elmerit 135mm at f2.8. And this was a very interesting lens because first there was a production also in the M series, also as the R series. The R series was particularly interesting because it weighed 730 grams. That's about 1.6 pounds, a hefty lens. It featured 5 elements in 4 groups, the same way this one is. But that was an f2.8, and it was considered relatively fast for its size and for the period of time that it was out. And R lenses, of course, was discontinued. But the M lenses, well, they had an issue with finding the right focus. So they came with these two binoculars, or you might say glasses, as they are now called. And they kind of mounted onto the M mount and were used for a period of time. But it was almost impossible to use them efficiently. It was difficult to carry it around, and it was discontinued after a while. And then came this lens, the f3.4 APO TELYT M. It's an apochromatic lens that is being redesigned by Leica and was introduced in 1998 as a replacement for all the other lenses. And this is not a 55mm filter, but a 49mm. So that meant the size of the lens was reduced. Of course, the weight compared to the f2.8 went from 1.6 pounds to 1 pound, or 453 grams. And recently I was asked about this lens for the purpose of using wedding photography, and I said there are other lenses, and wedding photography is rather difficult because it requires portraiture type of lens, and you might need to blur out the background. Also, the fact that you are going to use this handheld would make it difficult to focus. And for that very reason, I recommended that they would look into other types of lenses that they could be adapted to use with Leica SL or the S series. But regardless, I wanted to show how this lens renders images. It is relatively sharp and is an apochromatically corrected lens, which means that if you are photographing in bright daylight or you have issues with a chromatic aberration, this lens resolves those issues. But what is beautiful about this lens is the fact that you can take photographs from a distance. If you, for example, if you are watching the bullfights in Spain, you can use this lens to capture photographs of the bullfighter or the bull, or the scene at the arena. Or if similarly, if you are going to photograph situations where you would need to be further away from the subject, well, this is a lens to be used efficiently. In fact, it can be used to photograph architecture if correctly positioned. In fact, I have included one of those photographs in this review so you might see how it was used. But most of the times, what I do appreciate about Leica is their color renditioning. And it's for that reason I wanted to photograph some murals in Vancouver. And these murals are particularly beautiful, and they are spread out through the city. And these murals are painted and have vibrant colors. And I wanted to show how those colors would reflect when used with a 135mm lens. As you can see, some of those photographs will be in close range. What that means is out of the mural, certain sections were taken in close range to show how the colors and the sharpness is achieved through this lens, and they are presented at the end of this video. I suggest you look through them and see how the images were captured and how they were rendered through the use of this lens. And I hope this review has been informative, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Please do remember to subscribe to our newsletter and also our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.